when the Alexandria Washington Lodge number 22 relocated to this building in 1947, they decided to model this room off of their old meeting place on the second floor of City Hall. For a bit of background on Freemasons, those who are that familiar, Freemasons are generally a social club and a for-profit organization. There are three requirements to become a Mason. One must be a man, sound moral character, and believe in some sort of supreme being. In front of me, this is called the altar of Freemasonry, on top of which you see what are called the three great rites of Masonry. These are the Holy Book, that symbolizes that belief in supreme power. In this case, it's a Bible, but it can be a Quran or Torah or any other holy book. Also, there's the compass and the square. These are, again, two tools that trace back to the craft of stone masonry. The compass is used to create perfect circles, and this symbolizes encircling one's passions, while the square is used to create perfect angles, which is a symbol of honesty. Some info about Washington's personal journey with the Masons. Washington first joined the organization in 1752. He joined the lodge in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Unfortunately, not much is known about his early life with the Masons. However, in 1788, he did become the charter master of the Alexandria Lodge. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to attend regular meetings due to having a slightly time-consuming job of being the first president of the United States. However, he would be a deputy Mason until his death. Some notable items in this room: this clock and this cabinet. This is believed to have sat on the bedside table of Washington at the moment of his death, which at that point, his doctor, a man named Dick, a fellow Mason, decided to cut the weight on the clock, forever freezing it at the moment of Washington's death. Next to it, there is a replica of Washington's Masonic apron. This was a gift from a French merchant named Rousseau. It commemorates the victory of the French and the Americans over the British at the Battle of Yorktown. Therefore, it displays an American flag and a French Royal Naval flag. Also in this room, this chair, it was gifted from that moment who sat in Washington's study. Above it is a portrait of Washington by the artist William Joseph Williams. You will notice this painting slightly different than that painting and that painting. That's because it was very common in this period for artists to embellish their portraits, to add little touches to make them look slightly better. However, Williams was notable for having tended not to do that many embellishments. So if you want to get a sense of what Washington looked like in 1793, this is probably your best bet. Certain elements of that, you can see the redness on his cheek. This is actually scarring from when he had smallpox as a young man. There's also a black wall with white hair. And you'll notice that he's scowling. That's because he doesn't have any teeth in his mouth. Washington's famous dentures were infamously uncomfortable, so when he wasn't doing an activity such as eating or speaking, he tended not to like to wear it. Again, after the tour, you are welcome to come back to this room and see more of these objects. However, if you follow me, we can go into the elevator and up into the tower.
Is there any, were these used for anything specific?
These are generally used in Masonic ceremonies and rituals. The specifics of which
yeah.
They are.
This is George Washington studies.